Welcome in and happy Thursday. We are expecting severe weather this afternoon, and this view from Lookout Mountain shows the storms building up now. Let's take a look at downtown. Not as much darkness just yet. So the big question, when can we expect the storm to hit the metro? Let's get right to Keely Chalmers with our 9 News Weather Impact team. Keely, when's this big storm that I keep hearing about going to present itself?
Yeah, well, we got scattered thunderstorms in the forecast for not just the metro area, the I-25 corridor, really the entire eastern half of the state as we head into the afternoon. So we're already starting to see the showers over the foothills, and we'll gradually start to see those showers evolve into thunderstorm after about the 1 o'clock hour. I'm thinking between about 1 and 3, we'll likely start to see those thunderstorms bubble up here in the metro area. But you can certainly see the dark clouds moving in. We're at 64 degrees here at the 9 News studios. Winds out of the northeast right around 6 miles per hour. So your forecast for today will warm up maybe a couple degrees warmer than where we are for this afternoon. And we do have those storms. Again, storms first developing between about 1 and 3 o'clock this afternoon. We're going to continue to see off and on thunderstorms all the way through the afternoon into the evening and into probably the 10 o'clock hour tonight. Again, very scattered in nature. But again, as you can see, we're starting to see some precipitation move over and develop over the foothills. The snow level about 9,000 feet, so anything above that will be snow. But you can see really there is a threat for a severe thunderstorm across most of eastern Colorado. The threat increases in the area in yellow, so we're talking about Kit Carson, Lamar, Springfield, as well as Lyman. And I'm thinking even north of the metro area, Fort Collins, Greeley will likely see an increased threat for severe weather. Showers though tomorrow, so just a cool showery end of the work week, and then we're in storm for a warm and mainly dry week, and more on that coming up in your complete forecast. And we'll break down the timeline of those storms this afternoon a bit more in detail coming up in your complete forecast in just a bit.
Keely, thank you. After closing arguments, the jury now has the case in the murder trial of Joe Kanig. Kanig is accused of throwing that rock that killed Alexa Bartell in April of 2023. It was the last of 10 times Kanig is accused of hurling rocks at oncoming cars in Boulder and Jefferson counties. He is charged with first-degree murder and 18 other criminal counts. This morning, a prosecutor argued that Kanig's actions over months showed that he knew what he was doing. The defense attorney argued that Kanig suffered from mental conditions that impaired his judgment.
Frequent, focused, and fatal. When you go back into the jury deliberation room, go back to those 3 words. The defendant's attacks were frequent. The defendant's targets were focused. The defendant's weapons were fatal.
Why did Joe Kanig do what he did with those 2 other boys? And when we talk about why, what I'm talking about is what was going on in his head. What was his mental state? That's what this case is about.
2 others involved in Bartell's death pleaded guilty to lesser charges and testified against Kanig. 9 News investigative reporter Kevin Vaughn has been in the courtroom, and we'll have more this afternoon. Police in Brighton are still looking for suspects following the shooting death of 2 people last night. It happened just after 6 o'clock in a neighborhood near North 7th Avenue and Walnut Street. Brighton police responded to reports of multiple gunshots near a home. When officers got there, they found 2 people dead in an alleyway. Witnesses also told police they saw an older, dark-colored car leave that area. If you have any information that can help police, call Brighton Police. 2 years ago today, someone walked into the American Elm restaurant in Denver and murdered Emerald Vaughn Daler and Ignacio Gutierrez Morales. But police still haven't made any arrests and do not have any suspects. DPD initially thought the shooting stemmed from a robbery, but investigators haven't confirmed that. The reward in this case is now up to $32,000, $600. If you know anything that could help investigators find a suspect, give Crime Stoppers a call. That number is at the bottom of your screen right now, 720-913-7867. A teenage driver has died and several others are hurt today after a crash in Thornton. Thornton police say an officer tried to pull over the 17-year-old driver for speeding on 104th Avenue a little after 4:30 yesterday afternoon, but he continued driving. They say that he then crashed into multiple other vehicles near that intersection with McKay Road. He died on the scene. Well, new cuts just came down this morning that will effectively eliminate the National Center for Victims of Crimes hotline. 9 News reporter Courtney Yoon tells us more about the Colorado impact.
Employees were told this morning that they will be losing their jobs. We know about 20 staff members are dedicated to working the hotline, but that's not the only program this organization will lose because of these most recent DOJ cuts. This is the National Center for Victims of Crimes website. On Tuesday, the organization learned that grants for 3 different programs are being rescinded. The Victim Connect Resource Center is both a hotline and a website that provides resources to victims of all kinds of crime. A letter from the Department of Justice says in part, quote, the department has changed its priorities with respect to discretionary grant funding. It goes on to say it will focus on more directly supporting certain law enforcement operations and combating violent crime, among other things. The National Center for Victims of Crime says they're losing $2.8 million worth of grant funding with these cuts.
I think that there's a very real safety risk to individuals everywhere. We're the only hotline that helps all victims of crime, regardless of the crime type. And unfortunately, this will mean a lot of folks fall through the cracks.
The hotline has been in use since 2015. 16,000 people made calls to it last year. 250 of them were from Colorado. 300,000 people also visited the website for resources. The 20 employees who work the Victim Connect hotline are trained professionals who provide callers with emotional support and care. They also provide them resources while helping them fill out forms that they need, as well as safety planning. The CEO says the letter from the DOJ notes a right to appeal to get back their funding, but there's been no guidance or further information about it. In the studio, Courtney Yoon, 9 News.